Yeah. Could have been a contender. Alright, change things up a little bit this week. I think the way we're going to take this format for a little while is you guys got questions, I got answers to those questions. You want to hear the answers to those questions instead of hearing me telling you how much better than my fantasy team is than yours. That's right. I said it. It's the truth. You know it. But for those of you who are the purists out there, I will go over just a few scores for you. Last week, it was the game is humiliating my good buddy Hunter Howe and Ride or Die by over 100 points. For the first time since the 2021 season, when we were in the thralls of a pandemic, when Coach Eric Davis was upended by General Finkel by 135 points. And perhaps that was the kick in the butt he needed to turn his whole fantasy career around, because he's going on to win back-to-back titles since then, folks. So, you never know. It could be the same thing. Could be a little dose of the same thing going on right here. And I seem to have lost my place. And then we had Finral's Jinkle. Check that. General's Finkel. Going into Merrill, England. Flirting with the high score. Just rubbing it in on a pretty good showing by a team called Best. They got 37 from Josh Allen. They got 15 from London. They got Saquon being Saquon. Dallas Goedert being Dallas Goedert. Not all bad things for Chris, though, as the franchise, Mr. Rice gets him 26 and Aaron Jones gets him 26. Those are the two key pieces in my mind, along with Marvin Harrison in that organization as we speak. Then we also get the Ditkas just demolishing the Chicken Man, 110-57. The Mambas taking out the Beards, 130-99. And the victorious B.I.G. taking care of the Navy, knocking them into the loss column, leaving simply the best. Sorry, I'll try not to do much singing on this podcast. But the Gamers as the sole surviving undefeated team. But that could all change, as the Navy will have a chance to knock me off my perch this week as we go into the previews. Yeah, I said hit the music for the preview music. Hit the preview music. Oh yeah, that's some preview music right there, if I've ever heard it, folks. Preview music. Alright. Now we just gotta see what we're working with, folks. As we transition from week number 3 to week number 4. And we have, as I stated earlier, the Navy, who got, after a -3 showing last week from their defense, stay with them. It pays off as they get 9 more than they got last week. They come up with 6 against the Giants. And right now it's scheduled to be a 112-110 win. Or check that, 112-104 win for the Gamers. The conundrum the Gamers are running into this week, however, is that Deebo Samuel appears to be back in shape, which is good for his 49ers, not so good for his fantasy team. So what to do if you're Gamers? If you're a part of that top tier general manager coaching staff up there with Chan Gailey and the rest of those guys, well, guess we're just gonna have to wait and see what he does. But 3-0 undefeated season is riding on it. No injuries besides Deebo, who is now questionable instead of doubtful. But also, remember last year, the 49ers used Deebo as a straight-up decoy against the Cardinals, and Coach Sanders certainly remembers that game. And Juwan Jennings will not be going anywhere near the bench. If anything, Deebo will be the odd man looking out. And if Deebo does play, it'll be somebody else riding the pine, not Juwan Jennings, and it's hard to imagine who that might be. Alright, in a battle of brother against brother, Cain and Abel, so to speak, we have a team called Best taking on Victorious B.I.G. 1 and 2, a team called Best needs this one. And Coach Mitch Smith would love nothing more than to put his brother down a peg or two. So stay tuned to see what happens here as Coach Smith, I got a feeling Coach Smith will come out on top. I don't know. That's just my opinion. I'm going to go with Coach Smith on this one. All right. Then we got the Mambas at 2-1. Going up against those ride or die attendants at 0-3. And to say this is a must-win for Ride or Die, I don't even have to say it. I'm not going to say it. So you're not going to hear me say it. But they did get 8.4 from Jake the Snake Ferguson. And Malik Neighbors did come up with 115 receiving yards, 12 receptions. Goes over 100, gets the Mambas 20. So, right now, without Andrew even putting in a defense, he is slated to win 107-103. You would think the Mamas would keep a good thing going, or a bad thing going for Hunter's Howls here. Going to have to go with the Mamas on this one. Then we've got the Beards and the Chicken Man in a battle of the 1 and 2s. One team will be 500, the other one will be gasping for air. And Yahoo says it's the game of the week as far as closeness goes. Chris Olave is questionable, but appears to be in the right side of that question mark. And I'm going to go with the stunner here. And I know I always say never underestimate the heart of a champion. I'm going to go with Chicken of Tyson to go to 2-2. Beards take the loss. But the Beards are going to make a run. They're going to make a run late. They still got 2 games with the Gamers. So I'm sure that's when he plays his best ball. And don't be surprised if he don't hang a couple losses on the Gamers this season. So, General Finkel, almost forgot, going up against the Dickus. Now, General Finkel only got 4.3 from his single worst running back in history. No, check that. I'm just kidding. Devin Singletary. Check that. And the Ditka's only 2 yards away from getting a bonus from CeeDee Lamb, who got him 98 on 7 and a touch. Devontae Adams, however, a late addition to being out. So we'll see what happens there. And Jakobi Meyers is he is gainfully employed by somebody here in the JRL, and it is Amir Sharvar. So wouldn't it be interesting? Singletary's already played. It would be hard to replace London, Flowers, or Godwin. Put in Myers. But if Singletary would have had a Sunday game, that would have been quite a move. Also, Alvin Kamara is also questionable. And he has managed limited practices, and it seems better than 50-50 to play. But, as they say, you're going to want to prepare. I've always found that when guys play, even in limited practices, especially veterans like Kamara, they're going to play. Come on. So, I expect to see him there. And I expect to see D. Dutta winning this game, and more hope than anything, and knocking Finkel down a peg or two. And hopefully after this week, the Gamers will still be undefeated and have a 2-game lead in the division. And I am going to be back later, maybe today, maybe tomorrow, who knows when, to answer questions. Because, guys, unbelievable response. Who knew that all you had to do is give stuff away to you guys for you to just go crazy about this stuff, about just asking me things? But I will get to these questions. Each question that has been asked, I will get to it. And no matter how crazy and how ridiculous that question may seem, I will answer it. And I'm going to do my damnedest to answer every question. Every question that's sent, I'm going to do my best to answer it. So stay tuned, because it's going to be emotional in the J.R. Ryder Revival Podcast. Until then, Big Boy, Big G, Chef Boyardee, the Dorito Man himself, Mr. Paulie Walnuts over there, and the pinkish bag Hugh. We'll see you next time on the J.R. Ryder Revival League Podcast.